But I mean, I'm excited for these guys. We've been practicing really since end of August, and it's definitely time to get out and play games and keep learning, but then also see where we're at.
What have you seen in preseason practice until now?
I think guys have established themselves as far as position players. Who's kind of be the starters and things like that. At least at the beginning of the season, our starting lineups are really never the same by the end of the year. So, but we've had some guys step up. I mean, offensively, Fracco had a good fall, and he's continued to hit the ball well indoors. Serrato had a real good fall hitting the ball. We had some freshmen last year that in Ploecki and Perkins and Schreiber and Fracco, Talbot even, that had good freshman years that, we'll see what they can do again in year two. It's a little bit tougher because they got a little bit more scout report on you, and you're not going to sneak up on anybody, but hopefully they've gotten better as well, both mentally and physically. Pitching-wise, we've got some holes to fill. I mean, I don't think you're ever going to fill that void completely that Matt Bischoff, left, a four-time All-Big Ten pitcher. But at the same time, I think we've got a staff that's going to have to come together. We may not have that one guy that we lean on so much, but we're going to lean on some other guys, and guys will develop roles as the season progresses. We don't have a dead red end of the game closing guy, but that might develop, or we just do it by committee as well. So, but I think that, we've seen a lot of things just develop over the roles and starting, responsibilities and things.
You may not like starting as early as you do, but do you like starting at the Big East Big Ten Challenge?
Yeah, it's a nice thing. I mean, they're coming in, pretty much with the same situation. Even though the Big East will have South Florida or even a Louisville, the weather there is a little bit lighter than it is, especially for the Northern Big Ten schools. But yeah, we're basically all coming out of the indoor and doing that. It's a nice thing that I think that hopefully we'll be able to continue as well.
What are your thoughts on teams you'll be facing this weekend?
Well, we've got a pretty good challenge, which is I was happy to see the draw of teams that we got. Connecticut being the number one pick in the Big East and top 10 team with a lot of guys returning, so it'll be a veteran club that we'll face right off the get-go. Notre Dame's going to have a new coach, and so they'll have a new air about themselves, and Mick does a really good job. So, and it's Notre Dame. I mean, it'll be exciting for our guys to take them on, and then Pittsburgh is another team that is, I think, expected to finish well in the Big East, and they're I think ranked as high as 30 in one poll. So I think a great draw for us.
You talk about to the guys about the rough start last year. Looking back, what caused that, and what do you need to do differently at the beginning this year?
I just think some guys confidence. They had confidence problems. And that's something that is internal. I mean, we talk about confidence. I can pat them on the back and do whatever I can do as a coach to be supportive, even though part of my job is to point out their negatives, and we got to keep working on them. But confidence to me comes from within, and it's like bad breath. Someone can have the worst bad breath in the world, but you can't give it to somebody else. And it's the same thing with confidence. Confidence comes from the gut, comes from within, and you've got to develop that, and it comes through practice and proper practice and successful practice, but then also being grounded and not letting 5 at-bats or 6 at-bats totally affect your confidence level. And I think that's what happens is guys put too much stock and confidence in their results rather than their preparation, because your preparation's your foundation, and you've done thousands of reps. Your results, you're only working. I mean, you only get 200 bats in a season, so you've just got to be firm. And I just think guys were probably not mentally tough enough or mentally ready to take on some of the adversity that baseball brings.
You've seen what they can do in here on the turf and stuff, but is there anything in particular you're looking for when they get out on the grass and play? Finally?
It's like riding a bike. I mean, and I haven't ridden a bike in a long time, but I think if I jumped on one, I think I could probably keep it going for a while. I usually tell the guys, I'll give you a half day. I'll give you a half day to get used to the grass and the dirt, the sun and the wind, and all those elements up in the, seeing fly balls in the air, and it won't take long for them to get used to it. So, a little bit of a transition, sure. It's always one of those things where, you're in brand new spikes and you're going outside, and so there's a little bit of a transition, but really not anything that should affect really even much of the first game.